And the parade is the Master of Pandemonium, Kurraku 0 here with a new Brawl deck this week. Make sure to leave a like on this video, check out the links in the description, and don't forget to subscribe. Our commander for this deck is Yarok the Desecrated, which is one of the best Brawl commanders I've seen in the meta. As you'll see in the video, this deck really holds its own. Yarok has two wonderful mechanics that give it both Death Touch and Lifelink, which can come in handy for blocking creatures to kill them with Death Touch while gaining life, or offensively attacking, gaining life, and also destroying whatever is in its path. The other great feature of Yarok is the trigger ability, which is going to give us double triggers on everything as long as Yarok is out. So this deck is built with Yarok's double feature in mind. So almost every card we play has an enter the battlefield effect, most notably Agent of Treachery, the Cavaliers, Dungeon Geist, and Euro Titan of Nature's Wrath. All of these cards are going to give us big advantages, even win us games with those double triggers. For ramp, we have cards like Arboreal Granger, which does have an ETB trigger. I just don't see it being that useful late game unless you get mana flooded. Gilded Goose, Leafkin Druid, and Risen Reef. For draw effects, we have cards like Flip the Lost, Omen of the Sea, Cloudkin Seer, which works with Risen Reef triggers. There are also cycle abilities we get with Tomebound Lich, Funeral Rites, and Relentless Pursuit. Now, besides giving things double triggers, another thing this deck does is act as a Reanimator deck, which is why we don't mind putting cards in the graveyard with the cycle abilities. Cards that help us get stuff into the graveyard include the Binding of the Titans, Mire Triton, and Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Cards that get things out of the graveyard include Omen of the Dead, Acolyte of Affliction, and Golgari Finebroker. Now, the two latter cards will actually double trigger if Yarok is on the field. It's also okay to let Yarok go into the graveyard instead of the command zone if you have these cards in hand, making it cheaper to cast Yarok. With the new escape mechanic, you'll have to watch out for graveyard hate, specifically Ashiok Dream Renderer. We also run this card ourselves for the same reason. Another strategy this deck can run either self-mill with Jace, Wielder of Mysteries as the win con, or we can mill out our opponents, which you'll see in the gameplay portion of this video. Last few cards worth mentioning are removal spells like Murderous Rider, Cavalier of Night, and Meteor Golem, the latter two being able to double trigger if Yarok is on the field. What this deck does really well is that it controls the field while creating threats at the same time. So not only will we be able to keep our opponents from gaining any board presence, but we'll be creating our own board presence at the same time. And the games that you'll be able to do that in are the ones that you're going to win. Yarok is definitely something you're going to want to keep on the field to get maximum value out of all of our other cards. Looking at the meta, this deck does really well against other mid-range and control decks, but I did have trouble with the quick aggro decks. So, today, instead of going into the meta breakdowns, we're going to do quick matches and then the matchup analysis after each match. So let's go ahead and check these games out. Alright, we got our first opponent here from Bungo, who's playing a Golos deck. This hand looks pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and keep it. So we didn't draw the land that we need on our opening hand, but we did draw into it since we were on the draw, so that's pretty good. We're going to go ahead and play our Leafkin Druid, start ramping. I'm going to go ahead and play the island here in the Chromatic Lantern. Go ahead and pass our opponent's turn. We see it's a fairy out of our opponent, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and Assassin's Trophy it. I'm going to go ahead and put down our island here. Assassin's Trophy on our opponent. Now, they do get some ramp out of that, but that's okay. They went ahead and declined it for some reason, so we're going to go ahead and mill them with Jace and draw our Arcane Signet. Our opponent draws a Mana Geode, goes ahead and scries to the top. We're going to go ahead and play our Arcane Signet and go ahead and scry with our Temple of Mystery. Voracious Hydra looks good, so we're going to go ahead and cast Yarok so we can get the double trigger off the Hydra. Alright, so we draw the Hydra with Jace's ability and pass our opponent's turn. We see a Golos out of our opponent here, so they go ahead and play Temple of Plenty to scry. Goes to the bottom and passes to our turn. So we're going to go ahead and play our Voracious Hydra here. Did it for 6, and when it comes out onto the field, it's going to double trigger. So you want to make sure you do the fight mechanic first, and then do the double trigger. So the counters double before you actually do the fight. So it's going to be a backwards ETB. So it's going onto the stack first, so the last one that you do is actually the one that resolves first. So we're not going to sack the Evolving Wilds here because our Chromatic Lantern is going to give us the mana that we need off of it already. Now we could sack it to go ahead and thin the deck. We see a Fires of Dimension out of the opponent, and then the Ritual of Soot. So that's going to go ahead and get rid of all of our creatures except for Yarok. We're going to use Omen of the Dead and go ahead and bring back our Voracious Hydra. It doubles triggers, so we also get our Leafkin Druid. So we're going to go ahead and use Relentless Pursuit and go ahead and get our Command Tower and Acolyte of Affliction. We play our Command Tower, and we replay our Leafkin Druid and the Cloudkin Seer. Double triggers to draw, and lastly, we throw down our Gilded Goose, get a double trigger off of the Yarok, and we go ahead and attack in with the Yarok. Bond of Flourishing from the opponent, they get an Enraze Forerunners, and then Casualties of War. We're going to go ahead and put Yarok in the graveyard because we do have a Golgari Finebroker, and we're going to go ahead and get our Yarok back and cast it from our hand, making it cheaper. And then we go next into Cloudkin Seer, tap that opponent for 2, and pass the turn. We see Golos coming back out of our opponent. Field of the Dead comes out from our opponent. They play Facet Deep Dwelling, and now they can blink Golos to get a double trigger. And let's see if that's exactly what they're going to do. That is what they do. They're going to flash Golos, get another land from his Enter the Battlefield trigger. Alright, we have Field of the Dead popping off now. Goes to my turn. Now Fast is going to tap Yarok, but that still lets us get our trigger out. Dismal Blackwater triggers twice, and we're going to go ahead and play the Voracious Hydra. And it's going to fight Golos, and it's going to fight the zombie. Alright, we're going to go ahead and attack with 2 creatures here. Go ahead and get that damage in there. And then Sweet Oblivion, going to go ahead and mill our opponent out here. Alright, we see Golos coming back out from our opponent. Our opponent finds the Gateway Plaza, and of course Field of the Dead triggers. And I'm assuming they're going to blink with Thassa again and get another trigger. So Enraze Forerunners comes out. He only attacks in with the Enraze Forerunners. Thassa blinks Golos, and he gets another land. And Field of the Dead triggers yet again. So we're going to go ahead and put out our Guild Gate and Dungeon Geist. So Dungeon Geist is going to go ahead and tap the Enraze Forerunners. And also the Golos. Now we're going to play our Cavalier of Thorns, get double trigger off of that. Go ahead, and we found 2 lands for it to come out. The Temple of Malady allows us to scry. We don't need that, we don't need that. So we're going to put those 2 on the bottom. We got plenty of land now. We're going to go ahead and attack with all 4 of these creatures. Our opponent decides to take all of it, and we gain the life from Yarok. So it's our opponent's turn now. They're going to go ahead and use Golos' ability. They end up getting a time wipe, so they're going to go ahead and wipe the field here. We've totally reset everything. They pick Golos back into our hand, and we put Yarok into the command zone. And we are able to get the Cavalier of Thorns trigger. So we're going to go ahead and put Voracious Hydra back on top. And we see an Agent of Treachery out of the opponent, and they steal our Arcane Signet. land goes down, triggers Field of the Dead, and that's a Deep Dwelling blinks the Agent of Treachery. And this was a misplay by our opponent. They could have taken one of our lands, but they didn't. So we're going to go ahead and recast Yarok here. We're going to go ahead and crack our Evolving Wilds, because we're going to need to do that since the Chromatic Lantern was destroyed. And then Thassa, he taps Yarok, so can't gain the life off of that. Our opponent throws out a land to create another zombie token, and Golos comes back out yet again. So then it triggers Field of the Dead, of course. We have an Incubation Druid out of the opponent. Golos triggers. Let's see. Didn't find anything that they wanted to play. And they blinked Agent and stole our Yarok. So we're going to go ahead and escape our Sweet Oblivion. We're going to make them mill. We're going to do it one more time. Escape. And our opponent's down to just 2 cards left. So when our opponent takes their next turn, they won't be able to kill us because we're at 27 life. But next turn we can get the Sweet Oblivion off and go ahead and mill out our opponent. So our opponent doesn't find anything that they can use here. So they're going to go ahead and all attack us. Still live with 13. They're going to use Shatter the Sky, and they realize that we could mill them out next turn, and they surrender. The Golos Tireless Pilgrim matchup had me playing the long game. Voracious Hydra getting double trigger from Yarok helped us fight off our opponent's creatures. Getting it reanimated worked well to keep our opponent's Golos off the field. I ended up using Jace to mill our opponent out, especially since Golos will help us out with the mill. Alright, so our next game here against Boros Paladin, it's Rian, Angel of Rebirth. We're going to start with the Overgrown Tomb. Our opponent starts with a Temple of Triumph, and we're going to go ahead and Command Tower here and go ahead and get out our Arcane Signet. Got that ramp going on there. Let's see, go ahead and Tomebound Lich here. It's going to trigger, we're going to throw something away, and it's going to be the Evolving Wilds. We're going to throw down the Thornwood Falls, gain that life, and pass the turn. So, we see a Temple of Plenty out of our opponent. They play Hero of Precinct 1 and pass the turn to us. And we're going to go ahead and throw down our Ashiok. Oh, just kidding, Breeding Pool. Now Ashiok. Okay, go ahead and attack in with Tomebound Lich because it has Death Touch. Go ahead and draw a card, and we discard Fibble Tip and mill our opponent. Goodbye, Graveyard. Okay, we see Aurelia out of the opponent. We go ahead and pump the Hero of Precinct 1. Gets rid of my Ashiok, and we bring out our Yarok. Now the point with Yarok is because we do have the Voracious Hydra, so we can be able to fight something here. They go in with Aurelia, and that's it. And then we see a Shatter the Sky out of the opponent. We go ahead and put it in our command zone since we don't have the Graveyard Retrieval readily available. So now we're going to go ahead and Hydroid Krasis, count up our lands here. We can do it for 4. We draw 2 cards and gain 2 life, and we go ahead and throw down our Field of the Dead. Count up the lands there. When we throw down the forest, it should be creating a zombie token, so that should be 7 lands. Okay, got Samet out of our opponent, and Collision. Alright, go ahead and throw down this forest, activate Field of the Dead trigger, and then we go ahead and Yarok. Should have waited to cast Yarok, should have cast Yarok first and then we can put this in the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get it out. Rian comes in and hits us for 7. And we're going to go ahead and play our Voracious Hydra. We're going to do it for 6 and then fight our opponent's Rian. And we send the zombie token to go ahead and fight the Planeswalker. See a land out of the opponent. And Angel of Rebirth comes out. Hits us for the damage, so we're going to go ahead and play our land. We're going to play Cavalier of Thorns. Cavalier of Thorns is going to get our Simic Guildgate out, which is going to create us another zombie token. We're going to Murderous Rider the Rian Angel of Rebirth. And then go ahead and attack the Planeswalker and then go for his life. And the opponent's Coop. Rian Angel of Rebirth was a quick victory for us. What helped in this game was being able to reanimate Yarok and not having to pay the extra cost from the command zone. Having removal for their commander really helps since 3-color commanders do tend to get expensive after being killed a few times. Our opponent ended up conceding once we built a big board presence, as the colors Rian runs does not have board wipes to stop us, except for maybe Deafening Clarion. Alright, so we have an Ashiok deck. These are the decks I was telling you about. We have to be careful on our Reanimator. Pretty good, we'll go ahead and keep it. So, Temple of Mystery. We scry that land, we need it, we throw down the command tower, Arcane Signet, past our opponent. We see a folio of fancies out of our opponent, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and throw down our Thornwood Falls, and we're going to pass the turn. See a Mind Rot from the opponent. I have to discard 2 cards, so Kenrith Transformation and the Island are the ones that are going to go. So now we have a Funeral Rites. I can go ahead and draw 2 cards. We're going to go ahead and throw down the Gilded Goose. Drowning the Lock from our opponent, and then a Sweet Oblivion. We're going to go ahead and throw out Tamiyo, Collector of Tales. Use the minus ability to get something out of our graveyard. We grab that Agent of Treachery. And we pass the turn. Alright, so Wrinkle Master of Pranks from our opponent. They're going to go ahead and go for Tamiyo. And now it's my turn, so we're going to go ahead and throw down Cavalier of Thorns. It'll be able to block the Wrinkle, and we're going to grab that land and discard the rest. Boreal Grazer kind of at the very end there, just to have another blocker. So Bacon to a Pie, I get to choose a card. I'm going to go ahead and get our Tamiyo back. And that way we can grab something else out of the graveyard. Block with the Boreal Grazer here. We draw the Tamiyo. We're going to go ahead and play our Agent of Treachery and take the Wrinkle. Alright, so Ashiok out of our opponent. So there goes our graveyard. It's been exiled. So now we Meteor Golem. We go ahead and kill this Ashiok. Folio of Fancies from our opponent lets us draw, so we go ahead and each player discards a card. I don't mind discarding, but our opponent might have another way of thinking about that, which is Vengeance. Kills both the rogues there. So I'm going to go ahead and play this Breeding Pool. We're going to get Yarok out, and then go ahead and attack with the Meteor Golem. and Omen of the Dead, and get back that Agent of Treachery. Have an Omen of the Sea out of the opponent. Temple of Deceit, scry. Puts it on top. We're going to go ahead and Temple of Malady, get a double scry thanks to Yarok. Don't want the Leafkin Druid. The Chromatic Lantern's not going to help us right here either. So, we go ahead and Krasis for 6. I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 cards, gain 3 life. And now we're going to go ahead and attack in. Get that life gain from Yarok. And Folio Fancies from our opponent. Stolen by the Fae, so we're going to go ahead and put that back in our hand. Gilded the Dead here, go ahead and create us a token. I'm going to go ahead and Yarok, and then we're going to hold that back. So the plan here is to go ahead and take out some fairies or do some damage. So we're taking out 1 fairy and doing 6 damage to our opponent. Relentless Pursuit, we're going to go ahead and grab the land and the Cavalier. Drawn from Dreams out of our opponent. Our opponent gets 2 cards with that. Overwhelmed Apprentice to mill us. They're not able to cast Ashiok right now. Okay, so for us from us to create 2 Field of Dead tokens, we're going to Agent of Treachery to go ahead and steal one of these phase. Or 2 actually. Then if we play this right, we can win this turn. So we're going to Assassin's Trophy, the Overwhelmed Apprentice. Attack with Krasis, attack with Meteor Golem, attack with Yarok. Give me a good game. Ooh, Outmixes Cruelty. Give our opponent a nice there. Because we're not going to finish them this turn. Alright. So that was a good play of our opponent, giving them an extra turn to be able to play something. But if they don't play anything that will stop us now, then we're going to have it next turn. Our opponent plays their Ashiok and gets rid of my graveyard there. Alright, so that's not really going to do anything too damaging to us. So we're going to go ahead and play this, get the Field of Dead trigger, and we're going to go ahead and move in for attacks. I'll attack the opponent, and that's game. The matchup against Ashiok Dreamrender is tricky, since at any moment our opponent can shut off our Reanimator engine. Again, this matchup, removal is your friend. This is another match where controlling the field while building a big board presence helped us win this game. Alright, so Omnath Locust is a Royal. This is a really quick aggro deck. Our opponent played this really well, and they were able to kill us before we could get anything out. So let's just show, I can tell you in advance that this is going to be a loss for us. Alright, so a Leafkin Druid out of our opponent. They're going to go ahead and ramp. We're going to do the same thing. Temple of Epiphany out of the opponent. I went ahead and scry and a Risen Reef out of the opponent. We're getting that ramp on. We're going to go ahead and Relentless Pursuit, grab Double Tip in the Temple. I'm going to go ahead and put down the Temple, scry. We'll keep that Evolving Wilds there, because we're going to need some land here. We have all things to do and no land. Omnath triggers, gets rid of our Leafkin Druid, so we're not able to play anything. Alright, so we get the Evolving Wilds. We're going to go ahead and activate this ability. This hand was just way too slow for us. And the thing is, even if we do kill the Omnath, so we use removal our opponent, they're just going to be able to bring Omnath back and get another trigger off of Omnath. to where it's actually going to do more damage to us. And they've got quite a few elementals now, so good plays from our opponent all around. So we're going to go ahead and put down the Grazer for block. Right, there goes our Omnath. And this is what I was talking about being able to do that trigger. It is quite a bit that Omnath gets. Every time you throw a land down, you get a +1 counter. So we're looking, yeah. Have to block here. We go down to 1 life, give our opponent a good game, and concede. Omnath Locus of the Royal matchup is a quick deck that will give us trouble. Not only is Omnath a powerful creature, but our removal essentially makes Omnath even stronger by giving our opponent a form of removal every time it's recast, especially if our opponent is building up board presence as well. Alright, so here's another quick aggro deck, a Torbran deck. So these decks go really fast and won't allow us time to ramp up to the mana that we need. So the first hand looked kind of grim. We're going to go ahead and mulligan. This one doesn't look too bad, and we're going to go ahead and keep it. Still really slow to start with everything land-wise that we have coming in tap. And as you see, our opponent is quick straight from the draw. Alright, so the Runaway Steam Can of our opponent. They're going to go ahead and attack in with the Feverent Champion. I'm going to go ahead and throw down this land here. Pay the 2 life for it, and then Tomebound Lich. Discard a card. We don't need the Grazer here. Guess I kept the Grazer anyway, and threw away Jace. Okay. Blocks there because Death Touch. Ooh. It's first strike, so that's no good for us. It's another token, so they'll be able to bring out Torbran next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and Omen of the Dead, get our Lich back, throw down the Grazer. So our opponent has built up massive board presence, and this is where this deck gets kind of overwhelmed, because we weren't able to control our opponent's board there. They overwhelmed us now with creatures, and we don't really have a board wipe to deal with it. So ideally, we'll already have wanted Yarok out so we can deal with Torbran. But since we're not able to do that, we're going to have to bring out Yarok now, try to keep it alive. Go ahead and get some life gain here. And of course, yeah, I'm going to put in their command zone there. They're pretty much done for. Voracious Hydra has to come out, and it has to fight Torbran. Even still, with the Runaway Steamkin counters, he's able to use those counters as mana. And as you see, he does it there. Torbran comes out, bigger than ever, and that is enough to get rid of us. The mono-red Torbran matchup is bad as well. It's good to save your removal for Torbran, but our opponent can play more creatures than us in a shorter amount of time, making us lose control of the board rather quickly. By the time we get out our removal, our opponent can take over the board and take us down rather quickly. Okay, next game against Trostani. So this is a Selesnya token deck. This deck would have done really, really better if it was a Rise the Redeemed. But our opponent is playing Trostani, so they're not able to double their tokens. Rise would probably actually be a bad matchup for us because our opponent would be able to get over on us quick. But it's not impossible. Sometimes we're able to get over on our opponents before they're even able to get those triggers off. For example, we have lots of removal. We can get rid of Rise rather quickly and make them have to keep recasting it. Alright, so Beanstalk tying out our opponent. They're getting their ramp on. They're having a Johnny out. They can gain some life. Alright, we're going to go ahead and Field of the Dead because it has to come in tapped. And then we're going to go ahead and mill our opponent. Kenrith transformation on our own Goose. Makes it a 3-3. We're going to go ahead and attack in with both of these here. Our opponent is forced to use a plus. Thorn Mammoth comes out, fights Yarok. We're going to go ahead and put it in the command zone. Thorn Mammoth, however, does die because of the Death Touch ability. So Fiddletip comes out, we draw a card. Razor comes out, because we have plenty of land to be able to put down tap. We go ahead and put out another land. Field of the Dead comes out, and we do have a Murderous Rider in case we need it. Gilded Goose attacks and gets rid of the Ajani. Trostani comes out, creates 2 tokens. Alright, nothing else out of our opponent, and we're going to go ahead and kill Trostani with the Murderous Rider. And passes to our turn. Oh, throw a land out, get another trigger off of that. Yarok here. Honestly, should have played Yarok first, like I meant to do last time, because then we would have gotten 2 zombies out of the Field of the Dead trigger. I don't mind trading Fiddletip, even though he does get lifelink. That would actually get a soldier token off the battlefield there. We see an Incubation Druid out of the opponent, and then goes in for the Beanstalk Giant. So we're going to go ahead and Dungeon Geist here. It's going to double trigger, and we're not going to let them ramp. We're not going to let them attack us with the Beanstalk Giant. We're going to go ahead and get the Murderous Rider. There's no land we could get. I'm sorry, we're getting a Meteor Golem. Not Murderous Rider. What am I thinking? So Meteor Golem, as long as Yarok out, is going to get a double trigger to be able to kill 2 things. So Meteor Golem comes out. We're going to use it to get rid of Trostani and the Great Hans. Omen of the Sea, we're going to go ahead and try 2. And draw that for us. Try 2 more. I'm going to go ahead and draw the Euro. Double Field of the Dead trigger again. And we're going to go ahead and attack with everything. Put the pressure on. So now we have officially cleared our opponent's field. So smart play from our opponent. They bring out Tulsamere. Fights the Dungeon Geist, so their creatures can become unblocked. Questing Beast comes out. We're going to get double Euro triggers to gain life. Draw some cards. No lands to put down, though. So we're going to go ahead and play our Cavalier here. Sacrifice one of the tokens and kill the Questing Beast and the Beanstalk Giant. So that gets rid of our opponent's biggest threats. And we're going to go ahead and all attack. Except for Grazer, of course. Alright. We're sitting pretty good right now. We have 41 life. Our opponent's down to 9. We see Trostani come back out yet again from the opponent, using up all their mana. Okay. Nothing from the opponent, and they scoop. I can see Selesnya tokens being a problem if our opponent is running Rise the Redeemed. However, the matchup for this archetype that we got was Trostani Discordant, which moved rather slow compared to how quickly Rise can put out tokens. Luckily, we have a token engine of our own with Field of the Dead. Unlike the Torbran matchup, we can more easily control the board because our opponent has to ramp. Dungeon Geist ended up being our savior in this match, getting the double trigger from Yarok. Alright, so Krenko. So this is a match that would usually give us trouble, but we'll show you how it plays out here. It's a really quick match. Manifold key over to our opponent. We're going to go ahead and Temple of Mystery, Scry. Kenrith Transformation, we're going to go ahead and keep it because we can actually use that on Krenko. I'm going to go ahead and put down the Dismal Blackwater. Okay, Krenko comes out. He doesn't get to create tokens. We're going to go ahead and Kenrith Transformation on him. Or he can create tokens, and that's where our opponent often scoops. The Krenko 10th Street Kingpin matchup, it went pretty quick. Our opponent conceded when we shut off Krenko with Kenrith's Transformation. The key to beating that deck is destroying Krenko before it starts making tokens. Fortunately, we get a turn before Krenko can actually start making tokens, giving us time to get the removal that we need. Just remember, if left unchecked, Krenko can get out of hand really fast. I think this is the reason he's not as popular to have as a Brawl commander, because he does take at least a turn to get going, which allows for you to get out some removal for him. Alright, Niv-Mizzet Perrin. Go ahead and keep this here, throw out the swamp. The blue mana of our opponent, we're going to go ahead and put down our blue mana. Flash in Spectral Sailor. Okay. Soul Guide Lantern. Attacks with the Spectral Sailor. Go ahead and throw down our Cloudkin Seer. Okay, blue land from our opponent, and then does not attack. So we're going to go ahead and Ashiok here, and mill our opponent, make them throw some good stuff away. Yep, I got rid of quite a few things, Royal Scions being one of them. We're going to go ahead and pass the turn. Alright, Dassa from our opponent. And Dassa blinks the Sailor. Doesn't really get a good trigger off of that. It is what it is. We're going to go ahead and Risen Reef here. And take that action. Next, the Ashiok. Go ahead and mill out our opponent there. And more good stuff. Leave the blocker up for Ashiok. Precognitive Perception. Oh, they get the addendum. Pass his turn and blink Spectral Sailor. Alright, Leafkin Druid, we're going to get a trigger off of our Risen Reef. Okay. So, Relentless Pursuit. Go ahead and grab an Agent of Treachery in the swamp. And throw our swamp out, and we Ashiok our opponent. We've hit quite a few good stuff from our opponent. Hit their Labyrinth, we hit the Arcane Signet. throw a possibility. Okay, so Cloudkin Seer from our opponent, and we're gonna see the flash on the Cloudkin, and our opponent gets to draw again. Alright, so Golgari Guildgate for us, and a Yarok. Go ahead and get double Risen Reef triggers now that Yarok is out. Binding of the Titans, and go ahead and throw that land out there. Now we go ahead and Ashiok our opponent again. Get quite a few valuable stuff there. Lots of creatures they could have used. Binding of the Titans. Gonna mill some more. And here's a Grazer. Get that enter the battlefield trigger, but this late in the game, it's not really going to do you any good. Unless you've had, 4 mana in your hand. You're just like, need to get this all in the field. Well, that's your answer. Act of Treason. Yarok comes out for Ashiok. We go ahead and let them take the Ashiok. Asa comes out. Likes the Spectral Sailor, I don't know why. So I get to choose, and the Scoop. Alright, Niv-Mizzet Reborn. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Go ahead and pay 2 life for the breeding pool, throw out the Grazer, and another one. 2 land, 1 turn. I like that. Alright, so we have enough for our mana geo. We're just getting all the ramp here. Go ahead and keep the dungeon, guys. No attacks. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and Risen Reef here, get the trigger. And pop with the Grazer just to show dominance. Chromatic Lantern out of our opponent. We're going to go ahead and put down land, and here comes Yarok. Double trigger off the Risen Reef. We're going to go ahead and throw down our Goose and get double food tokens. Go ahead and attack with the Risen Reef and pass the turn. Our opponent shocks that in, brings out Niv-Mizzet, reveals those cards. Quite a few revealed cards there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and dungeon, guys, and put that on the Niv-Mizzet. And go ahead and throw out the Chromatic Lantern. And we're not going to sack the Evolving Wilds just yet. Just because it acts as a mana for our Chromatic Lantern. Oh, he goes ahead and pops his Niv back up with the Fairy. Won't be able to cast it just yet. But a Tomebound Lich. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and double scry here. Don't need the Dismal Blackwater. And don't need the Jungle Hollow. And let's see, go ahead and attack the dungeon, guys. Goodbye to Fairy. Alright, now we have Kaya coming out. Go ahead and create the food token before the Goose goes away. And Mortify on the Yarok. So we have Golgari Pinebroker. We're going to go ahead and let Yarok go to the graveyard. And go ahead and ping us for 1. Our opponent gets to cycle some cards out. And, oh look, an Omen of the Dead. We can go ahead and cast Yarok right now. Boom, gets the double Risen Reef trigger. And here's a Cloudkin Seer. Another double trigger from the Risen Reef, and double draw triggers from Cloudkin Seer. I'm going to go ahead and attack in with the dungeon guys there, gets rid of Kaya. Niv-Mizzet comes back out. Right, Temple of Silence allows him to scry, and passes the turn. So, here we go with the Nissa. That is the best course of action here. We're going to go ahead and untap that. Now Voracious Hydra, we're going to go ahead and play it for 6. Remember to do the fight first and then double your counters. And go ahead and attack in with the 2 flyers. Nebraska comes out. Goes ahead and uses for a trigger. Just a strike. We're going to go ahead and put in the graveyard because we still have our Golgari Finebroker. And we have the Acolyte of Affliction. So I'm going to go ahead and play that and get 2 cards out of there. Alright, so Risen Reef triggers. I'm going to go ahead and take that action. And Binding of the Titan. Alright, so now we have our own Tomebound Lich. I'm going to go ahead and double trigger there. Don't really need a Relentless Pursuit right now. You can throw away our Krasis because we have the Finebroker. I'm going to go ahead and untap that. Get Leafkin Druid and double trigger with Risen Reef. Alright. So, we're going to go ahead and make sure we go ahead and attack in on our opponent. And then Yarok, we put him back in the graveyard because we have our Golgari Finebroker. Alright, we see a Domri from our opponent and a Krasis from the opponent. So, I'm going to go ahead and exile 2 cards here. Gain that life. And Golgari Finebroker. I'm going to go ahead and grab our Yarok, put it back in our hand. And, oh, look, isn't that easy casting? Easy casting. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and play our Agent of Treachery, heal their Hydroid Krasis, and that's game. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, comment your favorite part, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Until next time, I'm Kurraku0, and I'll see you in the next video.